And I'll post the link in the group meet, and then I'll post on Instagram. Although it'll probably people won't see it right away. That's the issue, you know.
Yep. All right. So I think it's live. If you want to maybe double check somehow.
Yeah, I'm on it right now. I see it.
Confirm that.
Okay. Let me see you cycle between us. I'm watching it live.
All right. First, let me go full screen. All right. So this is Jared. Jared, you want to say what up?
I see you.
How about now?
I think the live is delayed from our conversation. Oh yeah, now I see myself. Yeah, the live is delayed from our conversation.
That bad?
I'm gonna put it in here. And I'm gonna put it in the group meeting. Tell people to start joining.
Are the words? Hold on. Are the words like that fucked? Like,
What do you mean?
like is my mouth moving in a different
No, it's
direction?
our actual call and the video of live. Like you can't watch. Like they're not.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
The timing isn't
Okay,
good.
now I see myself.
That's
Yeah, the
the-
live is delayed from our conversation. That bad? Okay. All right. So I guess we'll see if. You stay here with me, Jared?
Yeah, if you want to start coming up with some questions to ask.
I got some questions.
Word. I see you.
Next question is where can I see? Okay.
Well, I'm just posting it on Instagram. Realistically, we'll just even if people don't join, we'll just record it and put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
There you go, nice little sale.
I need
For the
that.
people that are in it. Okay. If anyone is in the chat, obviously, feel free to write us questions. Although I only see Mike just typing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, just dropping it. If anyone actually does join, drop a question. Jared, you want to just get started?
Yeah, we can definitely get started. Whatever.
So we're really just kind of winging this right now, but
Yeah.
that's
Okay, we got 6 people in it. Yeah, let's just start. I guess Mike, why don't you just start asking me questions, and then obviously you'll just answer your own questions.
yeah. So Jack, I guess let's just kind of start off from the beginning then. Let everyone kind of know, like when and where and how did you really start online business?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's obviously a great question. So, I mean, for me, it started back in 2015. It was November, Thanksgiving to be exact. And I was straight up dead broke. I mean, we lived next to each other, back in college, obviously. And I was talking to my cousins during Thanksgiving, and I said, look, to my cousin Joe specifically, he's 10 years older than I am. I said, I'm dead broke. I need money. I'm probably going to have to get a job on campus. What should I do? And I remember at the time he was doing online business, still is. And he specifically said to me, he said, Jared, don't get a job. Why would you trade your time for money? And if you're watching this, and you hear that question, why would you trade your time for money? I mean, what does that make you feel? Like when I heard that for the first time, why trade your time for money? It hit me, it hit me really hard. And ultimately I decided, I can't trade my time for money. So, I just started Googling ways to make money online. Found some music review thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways that you can make money, as I'm sure everyone knows. There's so many different things you can do online. I guess it's also just kind of crazy, Jared, that you started and you had no direction. And so that's why, I think it's pretty cool that we offer people direction, but, with no direction, you're going to go through some holes. So what are some of the failed business ventures that you went through?
Yeah. So, right away, obviously, I did music reviews. I was getting paid like 10 cents a review. Honestly, I think less. I think 2 cents. So I did like 20 reviews that night and made 40 cents. And I was like, all right, I can't do this forever. So I guess you can say that was my first failure. Then right after that, I started affiliate marketing and I built a website called howtobuildchess.com. I had about I had about $400 to my name. Within a month, I had zero. So then I took a little bit of a break from online business to pledge a fraternity. Obviously, we pledged together. And so I didn't do online business for about 7 weeks. And then right after I got into the frat, I immediately got right back into it. And I started my first semi-successful business, which was eBay dropshipping. I know, Vershawn, I know if you're watching this, I know you're the king of eBay.
Shout out, Vershawn.
But yeah, I started making like $600 a month, $800 a month. And then obviously we started doing it together, and then PayPal shut us down. Fucking PayPal.
Yeah, leave it to PayPal to ruin everything.
So obviously that was another failure. Right after that, I started AliExpress dropshipping, which if you're watching this and do AliExpress, I'm sorry to hear that. And after years of, just trying different things, eventually I finally found high ticket dropshipping. I'm not going to say I found it, actually. My mentors, they showed me. And I started doing it back in October of 2017, launched my first site in January of 2018. And by May of 2018, I was making over $10,000 a month profit. And here we are in July of 2020, and my dropshipping stores profit collectively between $60,000 and $80,000 a month.
Wow. Yeah. And so, I guess most people here probably want to hear about what it is that kind of makes us our money, which is, that high ticket dropshipping. So Jared, I know that we kind of had different stories when it came to this high ticket model. How long into your high ticket, from the day you launched your ads, how many months was it until you had your first 6-figure month in sales?
Yeah. So, and this is for, any of the students watching this that are just getting started. This is very important to keep in mind that neither me or Mikey were really profitable our first 2 months of running ads. So, if you're watching this and you're doing high ticket and you think that you're going to just launch ads and start making money right away, then think again, guess again, because that's just not the case. My first month of running ads, I did make some sales, but I lost money. And then the second month, I see build assets online in here. And then the second month, we actually pretty much made all the money that we lost back. And then the third month, I believe we profited like 1,000, 2,000. And then very quickly we started scaling. So, if you're watching this and you're first getting started and the suppliers that you have aren't bringing in results, my best advice to you is to keep pushing, because we really weren't making money. We just kept closing new suppliers. And then eventually we found one that pretty much took us to the moon overnight. And till this day, we have students that literally go from, 0 to like 30K in sales almost overnight when they close a new supplier. So it's very possible that if you're running ads to, 5 suppliers, they can all stink.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think, so you would say for you, it was around like 5 or 6 months for when you really started seeing those like big sale months.
Yeah. And the ironic part, for my situation is that it actually was pretty quickly compared to most stores. Obviously, I have to thank my mentors for that, and just the fact that, we did find a really good supplier within 2 months of running ads, which, that's possible for anyone, but I know your story was a little bit different.
Yeah, exactly. And so, so you said it was around 5 months for you. For me, it was almost close to 9 to 10 months until I really started seeing these 6-figure months. And, it's definitely, it can be discouraging, working so closely with someone like Jared who had his store already, doing insane things. And, for me, like I said, it was very easy to get discouraged. But I guess that kind of just shows proof to when you really trust the process. And, I also worked close with Jared and I. We have the same mentors, shout out BOA. But, when you trust the process and you know that the system that you're putting in place is proven to work, then there's really no reason to doubt yourself. And so, another point that I want to make is how important it is not to compare your journey to anyone else's journey, because realistically, it's like everyone's like a snowflake. It's like everyone is different in their own ways. So when you start comparing, like, oh, like Jared was making 6 figures a month after 5 months, and for me it's 5 months, I'm not getting there. It just becomes a whole mess. So just stick to.
You just made your store just made a sale as you're talking about it.
Yeah, of course. There you go.
Yeah. Let the viewers get it.
And so main thing I want to say, because I know we're already working with students who they launched ads 2 weeks ago and they're somehow getting discouraged already. This is the number one thing, but that's what we're here for. We're here to talk our students off the ledge, because anytime you're in a business and you're losing money, it can get scary. But at the end, you got to spend money to make money.
And obviously another one came in as you were talking. That's 2 in like 30 seconds. But, guys, remember that's what we're in this for. When you see me posting results on Instagram, I want you all to understand that those results aren't coming from me putting in hard work like that day. When it comes to online business, what you do will set you up for months and years to come. In all honesty, I haven't really worked hard in months, maybe even years.
As Jared's business partner, I can attest to that. He hasn't worked a day in his life in like 2 years.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you're watching this and you're first getting started and you're telling yourself, oh, I'm putting all this work in, but for what? Or you're not seeing the fruit of your labor. Am I serious right now?
What?
What's going on with this lawnmower in the background?
Is there?
You're gonna act like you don't hear it? It's coming from your end.
All right, keep going.
He's acting like he doesn't hear the lawnmower, but I can also attest to that. But so if you're watching this and you're working hard in your business and you're not seeing results, just understand that all it takes is one. When you're listing suppliers, when you're listing products, all it takes is that one listing that can make you money forever. Like, I remember like the main supplier that's making us serious money. I remember I was listing the products in class in college 3 years ago, and when I wasn't making money, I was calling suppliers like a madman. I was closing suppliers every single day, putting new products in the store every single day. And we've been over the last, obviously, as the title of the video, we've done over 3.2 million in 2020, and I haven't added a new product to the store probably in 2020. I haven't made any changes to the store in 2020. I mean, I probably look at the ads, once a week at most. I have Filipino VAs that handle everything at this point. They handle all the calls, all the emails. If we do close new suppliers, they handle the listings. Everything is done by my team. I honestly wake up and check my sales, check my messages, and then just do something ridiculous for the rest of the day.
Exactly. And so I know something that we always say is, you can't ask yourself, what are the chances? You have to ask yourself, what are my chances? And so whenever you're starting a business, your first thought is, like, what are the odds I actually make this work? Like, what are the odds I actually make money from this business? When the real question you should be asking yourself is, what percentage of success do I have if I don't start this business? So when you're closing suppliers, when you're running ads to a website, you're giving yourself an actual chance to succeed. Whereas if you're just sitting there and doing nothing, you have a 0% chance. So just take the leap. I mean, Jack, a lot like you said.
It's also you got to put that in perspective for your career as well. Like, think about it like this: if you're working as a teacher, right, or if you're working as a union job, right, you have no chance in becoming rich. You can't go from 40K a year to 100K a year in a government job, or pretty much any job. The average job, I think, raises the salary 3% per year. So it's like, you got to always ask yourself, what are my chances? Like with e-commerce, you can legitimately go from I remember Lopez. I remember on New Year's Eve we were together, and you told me you wanted to make 100K profit this year, in 2020, and I think we've honestly already come close to it. And last year in 2019, you probably didn't profit more than like 30, 40,000. So it's like, it just goes to show,
Kids put me on blast. No, but exactly. That's also, I mean, shout out me for just having some faith too. Like Jared said, I probably made like 30, 40,000 in 2019, and New Year's I wasn't making consistent sales, and I was still like, you know what, I want to make $100,000 this year. And Jared and I, we're big law of attraction guys, so you best believe that those are things that I constantly thought about, and I had the number so firmly to me, and like I said, we already surpassed that I think now, but really just move mountains with faith, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, guys. And other important things to keep in mind is that when you run ads for suppliers, you got to give it time to marinate. There's a lot of keywords involved. There's a lot of removing things involved. There's a lot of scaling involved. There's so many things involved that, when you launch a supplier, don't expect to be reaching that supplier's full potential for months. Like the difference between how optimized your ads will be on the first day that you launch that supplier compared to 6 months later, it's night and day. So we have one student, I'm not going to say names, but they just started launching ads and they spent $70, and we're wondering why they haven't seen results yet. And unfortunately, that's just not enough money to really have any data or any knowledge at all as to what's going on with your store.
Yeah. I mean, like Jared said, we've launched suppliers where after 2 or 3 weeks there was no sales and it spent $150. And it's like a normal person might think, all right, it's wasted $200, time to cut it. To this day, after a month or two, this supplier just out of nowhere started selling crazy, and now it's one of our best suppliers. So you really can't dictate with just a little bit of information. Like I said, you got to lose money to make money. But we have a couple of questions piling up. Let's just pause and see what we got here. IB asked, she said, we have a pre-existing company, but it's an Inc., not an LLC. Can that be used instead? Check.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, incorporate is incorporate. As long as you have a tax ID and a resale certificate, you'll be able to close suppliers. I'm sorry. Let's see. How are you guys doing? How are you guys' days going? My day has been good. Thank you for asking. Sports Mom.
Although going live on YouTube is tough, but
yeah, it's definitely a struggle. J-Bands, what would you all do if starting again? So to answer that question, high ticket USA suppliers, we would do it all over again pretty much. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, we had some failed businesses before we started our successful one, but ultimately we think that the business we're doing right now, the business that we're teaching, gives pretty much anyone the highest likelihood of success. And, we're not saying that out of our ass. We're saying that because, we've tried many different business models, and this is the one that we found success with.
Yeah, and I'm going to sound so corny right here, but I'm going to say it anyway. I wouldn't change a damn thing because, we lost close to $10,000 in AliExpress, and, we've lost thousands of dollars in a couple other business models, which we're not proud of, as any entrepreneur doesn't want to lose money on any business, but I can genuinely say that we learned just so much from those failures, and that's what got us to this point today. So yes, maybe I would go back and not lose $15,000 to $20,000 on failed businesses, but at the same time, like I said, we're like the half glass half full kind of guys, where it's like we're gonna see the positive in it. I think that's exactly what we did.
And honestly, guys, like when you have a failed business and you keep pushing, like the successful business, not only will it cover all the losses from the failed business, but it will ultimately, make you rich on top of it. As Mark Cuban put it, like with business, you can fail 99 times, but if you succeed on the 100th, then you'll only be remembered as a success. And that's the beautiful part. As when you're comparing business to sports, sports, it's like you have to actually win a high percentage to be great. With business, you can lose every single time and then win once, and that you'll be remembered a success. So the question you have to ask yourself if you're currently struggling is, do I want this struggle to be temporary, or do I want it to be permanent? What do you want to be remembered as? Because, one thing I've said to someone in the past was that you honestly just haven't failed enough. Like, chances are, if you're not successful yet, it's because you haven't failed enough.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, Jared and I think that any successful business person needs to have the strong mindset before they do anything. Because, when we first started doing AliExpress, Jared had already been making money. And so it was more so my first business. And to say that it was not easy to get discouraged would be an understatement. When you lose $10,000 in any business, I think that majority of people are going to quit. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn, but I think that's just, it almost sounds like common sense, where it's like, if I didn't have the mindset, if I didn't read these, so many people shit on self-help books, but if I didn't have that like strong foundation, we literally stopped the AliExpress business, and within a week I had a high ticket store up and running. Like I said, that's just, I'm just going to test that to my own personal mindset. I hope that other people can adopt that, where it's like, if you want something so bad, all you see is the end goal. Like, you don't care about how you get there. You just have that one goal in mind. It's like, really nothing can stop you.
Yeah, and it really is like that. Like, if you can see it in your head, then ultimately what you're going to do is you're going to cause like the powers of the universe to bring it to you, and all you have to do is act on it, and you're going to see, honestly, miracles happen in your life. You're going to see things that you would have never expected to happen. I have endless examples of whether it's sales coming in, or there's the lawnmower again, but endless examples of things that I can't even explain why they happened, but they did. And honestly, like, if the only advice I can give to people is to visualize it, to feel it, to believe it, and just act on it. And ultimately, acting on it is obviously the most important, but you're not going to act on it unless you truly believe it. So that's why you have to believe it first. I do see we have other questions that weren't answered, Mike.
Yeah, I see we got we have Filipino VAs.
Yeah, mute your mic, I guess. So yes, J-Bands, we do have Filipino VAs. Between all of our stores, we have, I think, over 10 employees at this point. We have people that list the products, people that answer our emails, people that answer our calls, people that answer our live chats, people that process our orders. Now, I will say this, when you're first getting started, there's no reason to have Filipino VAs or VAs in general other than to list your products. If you are in our mentorship, then obviously we'll be there to watch, we'll be there to guide you, we'll be able to tell you, when it's time to hire an employee to answer your customer service, because a lot of people hold on to the idea that by not hiring an employee, they're saving money. But let me tell you that hiring an employee is actually the biggest money maker of them all. If you're not hiring an employee, you're actually losing money. And here's why, is because, think about it like this. A Filipino VA will cost you around $600 to $800 a month, right? If you hire one of them, right, and pay them $600 to $800 a month, and your store is profiting $5K a month, what'll happen is that you won't have to spend all your time doing those pesky tasks, and you'll be able to take your store from $5,000 a month to $10,000 a month, from $10,000 a month to $20,000 a month. When I was making $5,000 a month profit, my mentors were telling me, it's time to hire, and I kept being so cheap. I kept saying, oh no, I'm good on my own, let me save the money. And ultimately, once I hired my first employee, what happened was that she was able to handle all the stuff that I didn't want to deal with anymore, and I was able to grow the company pretty quickly. We doubled in sales. I had to hire another employee. The next thing you know, we tripled in sales, and now the main store that I'm referring to has a team of 7 employees handling everything, and it is the best. I wake up, I know that everything's being covered. Even if one person misses work, everything's okay. That's another thing about employees, is that when you only have one employee, you become very dependent, and the next thing you know, they're sick for a day, and all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, and I think, just to kind of reiterate what you said there, Jared, it really comes down to the mindset of a business owner or an entrepreneur, is that any other person, and like you said, that how you originally thought when the idea of hiring an employee first came to mind, is off the bat, it sounds like a business expense. It's like, all right, like, it's going to be $600-700 less that I'm going to have in my pocket at the end of the month. But like you perfectly explained, when your time is now freed up for those pesky tasks, you can focus on those higher level things that'll ultimately grow your business. So it's like, it's not really an employee isn't an expense, it's an asset. It's going to make you more money in the long run. And that's really how people need to look at anything. Even when starting a business, it's like, let's say a business costs $1,000 to start up. Like, that's, yes, you have to pay that, but at the end, the hope is that it's going to have its own ROI.
Yeah, and two things to bounce off what you said, Mike. You put it perfectly. One, an employee is not an expense; it is an investment, 100%. Now, don't be mistaken. Not every business is ready for an employee. If your store isn't profiting, and you don't have a buttload of customers to deal with,
A buttload.
You don't need to hire an employee. But the moment that you feel like your store has taken over your life, I'll give you guys a great story. So I knew I was ready for my first employee. This was in the summer of 2018. I went to the beach with my friends, and I put my phone down for maybe an hour just to go in the water. Came back out of the water. I had like 10 missed calls, 20 missed emails, like 5 to 10 missed live chats. And I just realized like I became a slave to my business. Like this, when you start online business, you're not starting it to become, tied down to your business. One of my favorite authors and, I guess, quote, gurus, his name's James Schramko. He said, success is not bringing your laptop to the beach. Success is being able to go to the beach, make money, and just not have to worry about it. And, at the time, I think I just read his book, and those quotes really stuck with me because it was like, I literally went to the beach and I couldn't even enjoy my day. If I would have had my laptop there, then maybe, but I just remember I hated myself when I went to the beach that day. And that's not success. Even if you're making a lot of money, hating your life, it's not success.
Yeah, and that's something that we talked about in a couple of videos ago was, the whole point of starting a business is supposed to free your time up. And so if your time is being sucked in and you can't enjoy anything, that's usually a good sign that you need to hire someone to help you out. So, when you're the boss, you're only supposed to be focusing on high-level tasks, and you could spend your days doing whatever the hell you want to do. If you like laying in bed, then you can lay in bed while you make money and your employee is handling everything. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and I think a few important things to tackle are, you never want to spend your time doing things that will only get you paid once, right? So like customer service, as much as it might seem like a worthy task, think about it. If a customer calls, you close the sale, all right, great, you made a few $100 profit. But guess what? That will only get you paid one time. So to me, like when you reach a high level, and I'm not, saying I'm above anyone, but I have reached a high level with business, is that I've reached a level where I don't do anything that will only get me paid one time. I do things like closing new suppliers, adding new apps, maybe making like little changes to the site, things that will ultimately get us paid for, the rest of our life or, however many years to come, So when it comes to, spending your time doing things that will only get you paid once, that's not being high level, that's not being productive. Another thing is that realistically, 80% of your results come from 20% of your tasks. So, there's so many people that will start a store and 8 months later, haven't even ran their first ad yet. I took on a recent accelerator client 2 months ago, and he happened to be a friend of mine, so I was able to really watch over him, and we were able to make sure that he really stuck to the important tasks, the 20% that lead to the 80% of results. And within 2 months, his store was profitable. Now, this isn't likely. Very few people can become profitable within 2 months. But if you truly understand that 80% of your results come from 20% of your tasks, and you focus on that 20%, you don't need to waste time with nonsense. You don't need to waste time with bullshit. And ultimately, you can see results as quickly as anybody, which, like I said, to be profitable from a business within 2 months, I mean, there's nothing like that out there, really. Like, that's almost impossible.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get to another question. We were at the Filipino VAs. Lopez, is that you vacuuming your money off the floor? Nah, I only deal with, I do need some more cash on hand. Dishonorable lawnmower. Okay, Yeah, I'm half Hispanic. Shout out Chile. So let the lawnmower jokes come in. IB asked, how many suppliers is ideal to have? So this is a really good question because, Jared and I, obviously we have our main stores and then we have other small stores. Jared, I guess you want to explain how your store kind of works in terms of the suppliers.
So yeah, the question how many suppliers is ideal to have is a very open-ended question. But when you're first getting started, you want to launch 3 to 5 suppliers. You don't want to launch more because what'll happen is that your Google Ads budget will be spread so thin that you won't be able to really grasp which suppliers are worth scaling and which ones aren't. And you don't want to launch less because then your site won't look like, it's been around for years. So you want to start is first you want to build a list of 50 to 100 suppliers, right? Then you want to build your site. Then once the site is built, you want to start calling suppliers. And then once you close 3 to 5 suppliers, then you want to stop calling new suppliers. And what you want to do is you want to list those and then launch those. And then once those are launched, then what I recommend is to start closing 2 to 4 new suppliers a month. So you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to close 20 suppliers a month because guess what? You're not going to list half of them. You're not going to launch half. You're just going to have a huge stack of suppliers just on the back burner that you'll probably forget about. So, keep a nice pace of 2 to 4 suppliers a month after your store is launched. And what you'll see happen is after 6 to 12 months, you'll go from owning a store that makes a few $100 a month to a few $1,000 a month to maybe $10,000 a month. And, eventually you can get to our point where, we own collectively 6 stores that profit between $60,000 and $80,000 a month.
Yeah, and my main.
And we work with. Sorry, Mike, I didn't mean to cut you off. Just one more thing. We work with over 100 suppliers between all 6 of our stores.
Yeah, and so my main point in kind of trying to pass that off to you, Jared, was your main store. I feel like has one supplier that brings in what, like 70% of the sales.
Probably, yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, so that's interesting because there's ways that you can do it. You can hope that one supplier pops off like crazy, or you can do it in a way where you don't have one huge supplier. So my main store is I have like 7 or 8 suppliers running. I think actually maybe like 8 or 9 suppliers running that each bring me money. So it's like the way I look at it is I look at every supplier as a source of income. So it's like so you can have one supplier that profits you $9K a month and you're set. Obviously, those are hard to come by. The way I do it is I have, like I said, 9 suppliers. So I pretty much sprinkle around the profit between each supplier. It's like if one supplier can profit you $1,000 a month, that's fine. You just now need to go find another one and do it again. And so that's why we love how you can duplicate this process. And obviously, we have duplicated the process.
I'm so happy that you said that each supplier is a source of income because that answers a question, right? I did a Q&A on my Instagram and someone asked, is it too late to start? Well, guys, think about it like this. Each supplier is its own source of income. So in other words, each supplier is like its own store. Me and Mikey till this day are still closing new suppliers. So hypothetically, it's almost like we're still building new stores. And not even hypothetically, like I said, I literally have a store that launched 2 months ago and is already profitable. So think about it. When you close a new supplier, it's almost like you're starting over. So, till this day, to ask, is it too late to start? No, absolutely not. What I like to say is the people that started e-commerce in 2000 are very, very rich right now. The people that started e-commerce in 2010 are also very wealthy. And now it's 2020. And I'll tell you guys that the people that start e-commerce in 2020 and never quit by 2030 will be very, very happy. Like, obviously, we all know the 1920s was the roaring 20s. 2020s is going to be the same thing. When people look back at the year 2020, obviously they're going to remember coronavirus and other things. But when they look back at the decade of 2020 to 2030, it's going to be the decade of the internet. The people that really grasp online business are going to be the ones that really boomed throughout this decade. So, absolutely not. It is not too late to start. I'm not going to say it's the perfect time to start because the perfect time to start is always as soon as possible, but it is a great time to start. And if you're asking if it's too late for you, like I said, me and Mike are still closing new suppliers, which in essence is the same thing as building new stores, till this day.
Yep, spot on, Jared. it's never too late. You're kind of you're doing yourself a disservice the longer that you wait. So let's see what else we got in the chat. Vershawn, love this message. Yo, shout out to Vershawn. If you guys haven't checked out his video after this live stream ends, I definitely recommend checking that out. He's one of our success students that we had, and he's killing it right now. I know that Sean put the work in, and I love to see that his sales are reflecting just that. Andreas says vision and consistency. Spot on, Andreas. You know it. And some hustle. You need vision, consistency, and yeah. Build assets, build employees online. If you guys ever need help finding good employees, definitely let us know. Jonathan Phillips, do you guys use maximize conversions or target CPA on Google? So we set max CPCs as bids. There are ways to do it where you can let Google, this is my dad, shout out, Poppy, where you can let Google kind of do the bidding for you, but we don't like that. Our strategy is to have all the control. So we'll start a bid at a certain level, and if the click-through rate's not good, and we're not showing high up on Google, then we know that we have to bump it up. And so obviously that varies with the supplier. So if a supplier has a lot of competition, you're gonna have to make higher bids because you're bidding against a lot of people. But if a supplier only has 3 or 4 bids, then maybe you can get away with not setting those bids that high. And it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like I said, you really just have to feel out the process, because if people are bidding super high on a supplier, then chances are they're selling them. So at that point, it really just comes down to the line of, all right, how much can I spend and still be profitable? Yeah, I know you always talk about, obviously profitability is really all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah. And, just to obviously, as I mentioned earlier, we worked with over 100 suppliers. Every supplier that we've made a lot of money on, we're straight up dominating Google. So, if you see a supplier that has 20 to 30 retailers and you think you're going to come in and just cause havoc and just start making millions of dollars, that's not what's going to happen. But if you see a supplier that has 1 to 2 retailers or 2 to 3 retailers, then yeah, you can come in and make a lot of money. Someone asked me recently, how do you compete with the big box retailers? Big box retailers are the best people to compete with because they really don't get very specific with their ads. They actually don't try as hard as you think because they're so big. So, if you see a lot of dropshippers selling it, then that's probably not the greatest thing in the world. But if you see a product that's only being sold on Wayfair and Home Depot, and they offer drop shipping, which, really the only way to know if they offer drop shipping is by calling them, then, you might have hit a home run, and one of our students, like we said, his store was doing, 40 to 50K a month, and he just closed a new supplier that's really not being sold by anyone else. And out of nowhere, that supplier just started taking off. I think he's had the supplier on his site for only a week now and has already done like $30,000 to $40,000 in revenue just from them. And that's just, it just goes to show that you can really close one supplier and start doing, 30 to 50K more a month than you did the month before.
Yeah, I love that you brought up that other student who just recently closed a supplier and started selling them like crazy, because the next question that I'm seeing here is, what are good niches to start? I'm from Europe. And so the reason I like that question is because there's really no good niche. And just to connect that with the other student that Jared was just talking about, this supplier that he's selling is insanely saturated niche, or you think, it sounds like the most common product type you could think of. That's what he's selling. And it really just goes to show that it's not the product type saturation that matters, but the supplier. So like we said, if you can find that supplier that has only, around 5 retailers, then chances are you can make money with them.
Yeah. Great question. Great question. Great answer.
Yeah. And that also just kind of goes to show how we run our Google ads, which is a little more complicated than off the surface stuff. But if you guys obviously want to know more about that, havemorethanmoney.com, join the mentorship, and you'll have all the answers you need. Jonathan Phillips, Another question: should I use more long-tail buyer intent keywords, sentences to bid on Google to get cheaper clicks? That was a long sentence, and I need an inhaler just to breathe after that. So I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that, but just to give you a short rundown of how we do our ads, like I said, just the top of the surface. To start off, we run 2 campaigns, a generic and a branded campaign. The generic is obviously for generic searches, people searching the product type. So I have a couch right here behind me. If someone searches green couch, then that's going to show up in our generic campaign. On the other side, we have branded. So let's say the couch brand, I have no idea any couch brands. Let's say they're called Teddy Bear couches. That's the name of the manufacturer that we closed. The other campaign will have searches of Teddy Bear manufacturer, Teddy Bear couches, Teddy Bear sofas. This is obviously much warmer traffic. And so, obviously our goal is for our branded campaign to spend much more than the generic. Because like I said, people who already know the manufacturer that they're searching for, that's just so much warmer traffic. They're so much further down the funnel where it's like people just searching sofas, they're in the beginning of the buying process.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. And, just to simplify exactly what Mike said, think about it when you're a consumer, right? If you know you need a product, let's say you're walking around your house and your toilet broke, right? And you need a new toilet. And, I'm not saying toilets are a good product to sell. They might be, honestly. But the first thing you're going to do is either contact plumbers or just Google, toilets for sale. I guess toilet wasn't a good example, but let's just say it was. First, you're going to Google toilets for sale, right? And then what's going to happen is you're going to see which brands there are selling toilets, and then eventually you're going to find out which brand you want. So then when you go on Google again, you're going to Google the exact brand with the word toilets, and those are the keywords you want to be coming up for, because those are people ready to buy.
yeah, no, exactly. So I hope that kind of helps, Jonathan. Ivy said, will the video be available to watch later? It should be, right, Jared?
Yeah, it will be. It will be.
Yeah, so if you want to circle back, feel free. Andrea says, I know some people say what worked for me may not work for you, but with that being said, let's say I decide to do AliExpress. How much money would you say I need to start up with?
Should I take this one, Mike?
So Jared feels some kind of way. So Jared, you can take this.
Andres, if you're going to start AliExpress, then this is just not the stream for you.
Okay, so let's preface it. The way that we did AliExpress was through Facebook ads. And when you're trying to test products on Facebook, Facebook charges you up the ass just for impressions. So they'll charge you just to show your ad to someone, which is kind of ludicrous in and of itself, whereas Google, you have to actually get the click. But the other thing is that when you're drop shipping from China is, one, obviously you're selling cheap products, and two, it's going to take a month or two to actually get to the customer. And so it's kind of like you're being set up to fail. If you wanted to use AliExpress to source products, you should try to build a brand. And so, I'm not going to recommend AliExpress to anyone, but if you do want to go the AliExpress route, I would say build a brand. So find a passionate niche. Say,
let me cut you off there, Mike. Guys, put it into perspective. What do you think has better potential, building your own brand or becoming a retailer selling other brands? Who are the biggest companies online right now? I'll answer that question. Walmart.com, Wayfair.com, and last but not least, the biggest of them all, Amazon.com. Are any of those companies brands or are they retailers? Now, obviously, Walmart may have their own products, Wayfair may have their own, Amazon does as well. But at the end of the day, these guys aren't building their own brands. They're retailers that are selling hundreds and at this point, thousands of brands. So, if you want to build your own brand, sure, go ahead. But here's the thing. You're going to put a lot of time in, a lot of effort in. And for all you know, no one even wants that product. No one wants, building a brand is a very, very risky business. But when you become a retailer, it's like, the goal is to just carry as many brands as you can. And then what'll happen is you'll find one brand that'll take you to the moon. And then maybe you'll find another brand that'll take you. The next thing you know, you have a store doing a few $100,000 a month in sales like we do. or, multiple stores doing collectively $1 million a month. So, put it into perspective, guys. Do you want to build your own brand, or do you want to be like the biggest companies online today and become a retailer? There's two sides to the spectrum, brands and retailers. And what we teach is to become a retailer because there's a lot more potential and a lot less risk.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it kind of just sounds like off the top, I don't want to say common sense, but is it easier to sell a brand that's been established for 30 years or a brand that you just started? So that's the way that we look at it. And I mean, it worked for us. Like I said, you do what you think is best. Angelo said, how do you guys split up the work? Jared and I have a good relationship where it's like we don't mind telling the other one where, like, if they're doing some dumb shit or whatever, like, we don't have a problem calling each other out. So that's why we work really well together. We don't always recommend partnerships because the only way a partnership will work is if the two people never have to if you don't have to question the value the other is bringing to the table. And so thinking about starting a partnership, keep that in mind because it's a slippery slope.
Exactly. When it comes to e-commerce, right, and building a store, when you have mentors like me and Mike, there's really no need for a partner because, you only need a partner if they bring something to the table that you don't have. So, when me and Mike started to be partners, what I brought to the table was, one, I had experience because I had already started a few businesses, and two, I had money. But, if you're thinking about starting an e-commerce business with your friend, and, neither one of you have experience, or neither one of you have money, or one of you has money, like, always think about who you're partnering with, because I've seen a lot of partnerships go wrong. And the reason why they go wrong is because they both are on the equal playing field. Neither one of them really have knowledge that the other one has. And what ends up happening is that one person wants it much more badly than the other one. And, it ends up leading to either resentment or the business just not making it to success. So, my advice to you is, if you're thinking about partnering with someone, really, really think hard about who it is you're partnering with, because the last thing you want to do is own a 50-50 where you're the only one putting in the work, you're the only one bringing value, and you're not getting 100% of the reward. So if you join me and Mike's program, we charge $97 a month for the basic membership, and the value we're bringing is probably more valuable than almost anyone you'd partner with. So, and we're not taking 50% of your company. So, if you're in this to actually be a serious pro entrepreneur, to make a full-time living online, then $97 a month is very cheap when you can potentially be making $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, because you got to see the long haul. Our companies can be sold for 25 times what they make in a single month. So if someone owns 50% of that, let's just say your company's making 10 grand a month, right? And you have someone that owns 50%, one, you're only making 5 grand a month as opposed to 10. And two, when you go to sell that store for $250,000, you're only going to get $125,000 as opposed to $250,000. So really think hard before you ever partner with someone, because it really could really screw you up. So when me and Mike decided to partner, it's like we knew the roles, we knew what we both were bringing to the table, and that's why we were able to succeed together.
Yeah, it was a great point, Jared. I think our community kind of cuts out the need for a partnership. Obviously, it's up to your own. Use your own thoughts for that.
Doug.
IB says, how do you find your VAs? We have there are different VAs for different things. When it comes to product listers, we have a company in the Philippines that we trust and we work with. Jared, do you want to talk about the other use?
So, as Mike mentioned, we have a company that we work with that handles the listings. We would be able to help students with that, but unfortunately, our company, due to the coronavirus, is running very short on staff, so we can barely get them to work. But as far as how do you find VAs, if you're one of our mentees, then we'll teach you that. But the short answer is Craigslist Manila. So, a simple Craigslist ad, but it has to be on Manila. What Manila is it's one of the capitals of the Philippines, or it might be the capital of the Philippines. So you put the ad out, and obviously you say exactly what you're looking for, and within 24 hours you'll probably get 50 to 100 people ready to work for you. And out of that 50 to 100, at least a few of them will be qualified. So, when I'm looking for a customer service rep, I put the ad out, but I make people submit it with a voice recording, because in the Philippines, if you're going to have a customer service rep, you need to make sure they speak perfect English. So I make them send in voice recordings, because I'm not going to waste my time interviewing people that don't speak perfect English. So I put the ad out on Craigslist Manila. They all send in voice recordings. I listen to them. The ones that sound good, I interview. And, typically I can put an ad out and have a VA hired within 2 days at the very least. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Craigslist Manila.
Jonathan said, talked a little bit more about the bidding. Jonathan, when you use the method that we use, it doesn't really work. Like, you don't choose the keywords you bid on. I mean, you do, but it's more complicated than, saying I want to show up for where to buy drones, like the example you use. So it's kind of too much to explain on here. Alex said, have you guys enjoyed the use of the money you've earned besides real estate and stocks? Jared, you want to take this one first?
Yeah. So I'll be honest, Alex, I'm a very good saver. We both are. So not as much as the average kid our age would have, but me and Mike have gone on some trips together. Last year before the coronavirus, I went to Miami, LA, and Vegas in like a 3-month span. So, I was traveling a lot, and I intended to do a lot of traveling this summer, but obviously that got postponed. I will admit, I have spent over $1,000 in a single night at a club. I was able to get a car. I do plan on getting my own house. I did just buy a house, not to live in, but for a rental property. And I do plan on getting a very, very nice house and moving to Vegas very soon. Actually, with Mike, we're going to turn it into a more than money house, and hopefully, host a members only party one day. That's the goal.
Yeah.
So we have enjoyed our money. We both haven't need to work a job since we graduated college. So it's been almost, 2 years since either one of us have worked a single job. That is the best part about having money. A lot of people think of the material things, cars, houses, clothes, etc. But the most important thing about life and money in general is where you spend your time, guys. Think about it like this. What really affects your happiness? Is it money in the bank, or is it where you spend your time? If you're miserable, if you're unhappy, if you're bored, it's because you're not spending your time doing things you want to do. So for me, I've been letting my money pile up in the bank, and I've been loving seeing my bank account go up every day. But for me, what's most important is that I wake up every single day and get to spend my time doing exactly what I want to do. Me and Mike obviously are doing this live stream right now. We're having a blast. And throughout the course of this live stream, I turned my notifications off, but I made over 5 sales throughout the course of this live stream. The profit, who even knows, probably over $1,000. So that is what making money is all about, is being able to do what you want, when you want, have fun, live your passion, and still make money in the process. Because the thing is, you need money to live. So, a quote that I say is, if you don't have money, you're going to have to do things you don't want to do to get money. So you might as well do things that are going to get you rich, as opposed to things that are going to get you paid a little bit. If you get a job at McDonald's, or, I'm not trying to shit on anyone here, but, if you get a low level job, which, I would only recommend to get to save money to build a business. But if you do that, then, you're going to be miserable, and you're not going to make a lot of money in the meantime. So like I said, if you don't have money, you'll have to do things you don't want to do to get money. So you might as well do things that can get you rich. And e-commerce, is one of the best ways.
And it was a long answer, but pretty much what Jared's saying is that we're both not really materialistic guys. Besides Jared's Gucci flip-flops that he has, which I think I'm proud of.
I'm wearing them right now.
Yeah, we really don't buy things. And that's also just I think that just stems from our financial intelligence. It's like, why would you spend, most people our age, you give them $500, $1,000, and they're going to buy a designer belt, a brand new watch, or whatever it is. But it's like, when you've spent money and have made more back, like we have, it's something kind of flicks in your head where it's like, all right, well, instead of spending $500 on this new belt, why don't I just take that $500 and invest it in something? And there's always something that can be invested in, but at the end of the day, like Jared said, we get the most enjoyment from just having our time. Being able to go golfing in the middle of a Wednesday that actually makes me happy. It's like I have no care in the world, and then obviously, making sales on the golf course is always nice. But yeah, like I said, we're not really materialistic guys.
Yeah, I remember obviously before COVID-19, me and Mike are both we're avid jujitsu guys, and I remember almost every single time I went to jujitsu, I would make a sale. So when I would have to put my phone down, obviously you can't, fight with a phone in your pocket, but I would always make sure to leave my volume on because I would literally always be fighting, and while I'd be fighting, I would always hear a ka-ching, and it would just make it so much better. That is what making money is about, is making money while you're not working. And the second thing, as Mike said, when you start investing your money and you see your money grow, you become addicted to it. You really do. So it's a habit. Life is all about habits, and you can either develop good habits or bad habits. The choice is yours.
Yep. Next question. Andreas said, did not look at it that way, but it for sure makes a lot of sense what you guys are saying. James Walters, opinions on personal shopping as a business.
No idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, if you want to maybe reiterate that for me, James. Maybe like flipping. Like I know a lot of people make money from flipping, which would be a good. Like I said, it's more of a hobby than a business. But if you need money to make money, so if you're looking to start a business, the number one step is to work your job, find a hustle that'll put immediate money in your pocket, so then you can reinvest that into an actual business like high ticket dropshipping that will make you money for as long as you need. Andreas, I like what you guys are saying. In my opinion, each partner should feed from each other. One has something that the other does not, and vice versa. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. It's like there's really no point in getting involved in a partnership if you guys bring exactly the same to the table, like we said before. The hope is that someone has something that the other does not, and vice versa. So there's no more questions in the chat. I don't know if you guys have anything else that you want to ask for now. Jared, I mean,
we definitely covered a lot, and we'll definitely be streaming at least once a week. So if you guys have any questions right now, please ask. If not, then I think we could wrap this stream up and come back, next week.
Yeah, we'll hang around for another minute, see if anyone wants.
I mean, we have 15 people watching, Mike. So, I mean, we might as well keep racking up the watch hours. Are there any topics you guys want us to cover? Even if it's not a question, just write a topic in. We'll cover it right now. So please.
What's your advice to a small YouTuber? Mafia.
So, my best advice to a small YouTuber or any YouTuber is obviously consistency is key. But, second is you need to work with, other pages because, as much as it costs money, it really is the quickest way to grow. It's the best way to grow by far. So just keep putting out videos, at least 3 times a week. And, try to get shout outs from other pages. Obviously, it may cost money, but, if you want your page to grow, that's how you got to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Consistency wins at the end of the day. So, don't stop putting out content for people to see.
James Walters, how do you know a certain property is a good investment? So, that can be answered with there's 2 answers to that. One, cash flow. Always invest for cash flow. Never invest for appreciation. Appreciation should happen naturally. Or, obviously if the area looks like it should be gentrified soon, but cash flow is key. A lot of people say that the quote cash is king. They're absolutely incorrect. Cash flow is king. So make sure that the mortgage rate compared to the rent rate is a good deal. And personally, me and Mike, we invest out of state. So obviously it is important to know that you're investing in a good area. And there's really no way to know it's a good area if it's out of state. So you have to work with your realtor. So talk with your realtor, make sure they understand that, you don't want a piece of shit. You don't want a house in a high crime rate. What you want is something that's going to cash flow good in a good area. And as long as you do that, then you should be fine. And the house that I just bought, I took ownership on June 1st. It profits over $1,000 a month. And the entire property only costed $80,000. So I don't know where you're from, James, but to buy a full house, a multifamily nonetheless, for 80,000 that profits that much it's really unlikely.
Yeah, and I just to kind of add on, I was speaking with my grandma, who's very into real estate herself. And for anyone who doesn't know, me and Jared are from New York, which is obviously not, you really can't get a cheap property for a good property for cheap in New York, because everything costs $500,000. So our method of real estate is that we buy homes in the middle America. So Jared, where'd you buy your most recent home?
Yeah. So the best markets right now for someone that wants to get started in real estate with the cheapest amount possible are Cleveland, Ohio, and Kansas City, Missouri. There's other good areas, but one of the guys that me and Mike follow, his name's Chris Johnson. He used to always say, live on the coast and let the people in the middle of the country pay your bills. Because think about it like this: each asset is a bill coverer, right? Like, as of right now, my car costs $400 a month. My real estate investment profits $1,000 a month. So my real estate investment covers my entire car payment every month and then some, let alone my dropshipping store. So think about each asset as a bill coverer. And back to the question that Alex asked, have you guys enjoyed the use of your money? A better way to enjoy the use of your money is to use your money to continuously create new assets until eventually your assets are so, put it this way, right? One source of income, it's like having a building stand on one pillar. So you have to keep creating sources of income. So it's like you have many, many pillars. So then if one pillar falls down, you're good to go. One of my favorite mentors, he used to always say you need to be like the Parthenon. I'm going to pull up a picture of the Parthenon right now, just so you guys can see. The Parthenon looks like this. Hold on. So I'm just holding it up to the camera.
Yeah,
so you want to look like, can you see it?
Yeah. A little further back. Further back.
So you want your income to be like this, because guess what? If one pillar falls down, you're still standing. So until you're actually like this, in my opinion, you can't be enjoying the money you make. You need to keep taking that money to create more sources of income so you have more pillars, and that's how you become set for life. Job security does not exist. Life security doesn't exist, but financial security, that exists, and the only way to become financially secure is through multiple sources of income.
J-O-B, just over broke. Yeah, that's something that I think the idea of job security has definitely been exposed in these last 4 months, because the whole reason that having a job is so great is for the security. But unemployment was never higher a couple months ago. So if that's not a wake up call that, wow, I need something else to lean on besides my job, then there's not going to be a better wake up call, because millions and millions of people just are now coming back from being unemployed.
Let's get Andres' question. So Andres, the question is, you're saying that you've never had a vision. Let me tell you guys a secret. Me and Mike never really had a vision either. We took courses. It's impossible. All right, hold on. Sorry, I know it's a little deep. A lot of people think that a lot of people think successful people have light bulbs that just flicker off in their head. It never works like that. Me and Mike, we had no idea how we were going to be successful. I'll give you guys a funny story. When I first discovered online business, right, I was so confident that I would make it work that I bet one of my college roommates $100 that I would have $100,000 in the bank within 3 years. I had no idea what I was going to do. I had no idea how I was going to do it. I just knew that I was going to do it. So what did I do? I had no vision. I had no anything. I literally just started courses online, and ultimately you follow the course and that creates the vision for you. So, Andres, I don't know if you're one of our members, but if you need help creating a vision, then, join our program and we're happy to work with you.
Yeah, and it really, the first starting point, like Jared said, is educating yourself. You need to get as much knowledge on everything that you can, and then take the decisive action. I know Les Brown, he's one of my favorite motivational speakers, and he was actually one of the first people that Jared showed me. So Jared introduced me to entrepreneurship. And when we first got started, he showed me 2 videos. One was Les Brown. If you haven't seen his speech he's in a dome, he gives an amazing speech, and Tony Robbins. And those 2 videos got me hooked. And in one of the videos, Les Brown says it's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. And so I love that quote. You should always be educating yourself. So when the time comes where you're ready, you're ready to take the action, you'll be set. Your mindset will be set. You'll be knowledgeable on whatever business you're getting into. So don't stop learning, don't stop educating, because the moment you stop learning is when you stop growing. And, Jared and I, maybe some people will see us as successful for our age, but we don't see it that way. We have ginormous goals where it's like, we're not going to get complacent. We're not the complacency guys, and no one should. And, I see our one of our mentees, Rashawn, is here. So shout out Rashawn. And I know I spoke to him a couple days ago. I was like, listen, your store is doing good. I think it maybe ended at around $80,000 in sales, but you can never get complacent, because complacency is really the enemy of continual growth. So, keep learning. And if you're at zero, you should have even more motivation to keep learning.
Yeah, guys, the biggest thing that stops people from becoming great is being good. So if you're good, just understand you can always do better. In life, you will always remain in the same position, which is doing better than some and worse than others. So in the end of the day, if you're doing good, you have to want to get to being great. Otherwise, you might make $2 or $3 grand a month, but you're going to get bored of that very quickly. And another thing about life is that you're always growing or dying. Sorry, I have a pet bird. You're always growing or dying, and the moment you stop growing is the moment you start dying. So, never become complacent, because in the end of the day, you're either getting better or getting worse. You're not staying the same. Never say, oh, I'm making $2 grand a month, I'm good. Because guess what? 6 months from now, you might be making $0 a month. Or 6 months from now, you could be making 10 grand a month. So always keep getting better. Never be complacent. And, last but not least, money making is nothing but a skill that starts with two things. One, a desire, and two, a belief that it's possible. So,
yeah, exactly. So many people think that it's that making money is luck. It's happened by chance. But it's really, if you think that, then you're just so wrong. It's almost like a science in a way, where it's like, if you can find people who did it, then you can duplicate that and make it yourself. Maybe tweak something, don't copy it, but find people who are doing it and then learn from them. And, that's kind of our hope. Jared and I, we love helping people. That was kind of our main reason for starting this YouTube channel, as well as our community is, we hope that we can kind of just teach people, let people know about how we feel about life and business, because, it's given us so much. So it'd almost be a disservice for us not to pass this along to as many people as possible. And I see that Abdallah said, this is one of the best lives ever, value bombs. You guys are going to be big on YouTube soon. I appreciate the kind words. Like I said,
definitely.
We can continue to grow, and you guys can continue to grow with us. We're coming up on 100 subscribers on the channel. I think our goal is to one day have hundreds of thousands and millions of subscribers. So, the 11 people watching right now, when we get to that point, you can all say that you were watching our first live stream with under 100 subscribers. So thank you guys for kind of trusting us and for enjoying. I guess if you've listened this long, you must like what we're saying. So thank you for listening, and keep following along, please.
Yeah, and I think that's all that I have for now, Mike. I don't know about you.
Yeah, and we'll end it there. I know, Andreas, you said before about getting started. I know we spoke a little bit before, is if you have not already, go over to havemorethanmoney.com and sign up for our free ebook. Jared wrote it. We've been getting amazing compliments on it, so shout out to Jared. He killed it. It pretty much has everything you need to know about being successful and being fulfilled in life, because at the end of the day, it may sound cheesy, but fulfillment is really the bottom line. Being happy and being fulfilled, and we found it through online business. Check out the book. He has a lot of great points about it. And if you guys are interested in joining the community, head over to havemorethanmoney.com and hop on like we said before, the best time to start is right now.
Yeah, don't mind the grammar issues.
yeah. Listen, Jared and I note is that we are not book smart. We're your typical, communication, SUNY school communication major. So if you're not book smart, don't get discouraged because you're talking to the
The average self-made millionaire has a 2.9 GPA in college. And yeah, that's the thing. The people that have 4.0 GPAs do not become millionaires. Why? Because they bought into the school system so much that they just end up getting jobs that pay, a high level, but they don't become entrepreneurs. If you want to become a millionaire or a billionaire, then you have to own your own. You can't work for someone else.
absolutely, the richest people they own. It's not like who do you work for, it's what do you own. That should be the goal at the end of the day. Yawn Breakers, do you guys have a Facebook group? We have a group me for all of our members. We've been doing some progress calls. Any kind of questions we have, we write in the group. It's honestly, I think we're at like 40 or 50 members right now. And
we're at like 30, 32, I think.
Are we? Okay, whatever it is.
The energy, you would think there's 300 members.
Exactly.
The energy in that.
And that's the thing. That's the real power of having a group of people with the same goal in mind. It's like, especially when it comes to motivation in business, it's like having one person, like me and Jared combined, our thoughts and our motivational talks that we have of just each other lift us up so much. But when you include that with a group of 30 people who are all working on their businesses and all striving for the same exact goal, it's honestly, I love it. It's been a great experience working and teaching with people so far, and I'm excited for what's to come.
Yeah, and Yawn Breakers, obviously, Facebook group me, no matter what, it has to be 100% exclusive. You have to be a member to get in. We're not, we can't just have anyone in the group. It's for the paid members only. It's an exclusive group. And yeah, if you want to join it, obviously, feel free to join our community.
Of course. We haven't been dropping as many YouTube videos, but be on the lookout. We're going to start back up recording soon. And you best believe when me and Jared finally make that move out to Vegas that we'll be recording live. So it won't have to be live streams where I'm in my house, he's in his. We'll be together. We'll have a studio. I'm excited. I hope you guys are all there. HaveMoreThanMoney.com, and we will see you guys soon.
Peace.